Who's going in?
Me.
Okay, but
I'll do it. Welcome back to the Smash Showcase here at VESL, alongside the one, the only, the Catinator. Let's do the announcer. Thanks for rocking out with us here at VESL. You already know some of the best Smashers in the Carolinas coming at you through the internet onto your screen. And Catinator, it's a showdown between New Bern and West Craven here in the Southeastern Division. Going to be a hot one. And a lot of exemplifying that quite like a Little Mac and Shulk matchup.
3, 2, 1, go!
yeah, absolutely. We get a lot of fun when it comes to comfort picks, when it comes to the mains in the North Carolina high school region. This is going to be a good one. In the Southern region, we are week number 4 now. 2 more weeks left in qualifiers. 25,000 on the line here. Top 3 schools from the region will go to regionals. Past that, we got the playoffs as well with the top 8 coming through. So a lot to play for. This is a big best of 3.
Yeah, and you got to think that someone like that guy, JC, would know the sort of disadvantage that they're at when going up against the Shulk. Someone who has a lot of versatility with how they utilize that disjoint. And in general, you want to keep the action on the ground because you're a boxer. That's kind of where you live. You don't see boxers jumping around all over the place. But Davey, letting Little Mac kind of jump in, you do want to mix in those aerials as an offensive measure every now and then, but boy, oh boy, does Davey have the tools to catch that out.
Yeah, I say Davey has I was about to say Davey's got a big advantage in this one, but it doesn't look like Little Mac really working with what they have. I mean, these platforms feel like such a disadvantage for the Mac right now. There's so much spacing you can get on this Shulk, but still, that guy JC making it work. Already looking to take Davey back to ledge. Looking very strong right now is JC, but hey, it's turned back to the direction.
Yeah, I do want to point out, I mean, how is it that you generally fight sorties? How have you fought sorties ever since Melee, or really 64? You take advantage of their landings. You take advantage of their recoveries. If they're going to be pressing buttons, if they land with a button especially, there's going to be a lot of end lag time. There's going to be a lot of time that they're going to have to use to recover, to pick up that sword and get back into their fighting stance. Little Mac has the ground speed to take advantage of that, especially off of recovery. If they decide to jump from ledge, Little Mac is going to have the moves to deal with that. And just like that, we're seeing a sort of manifestation of how hard it's going to be to recover for Little Mac, even though just piling on the damage now, as Davey needs an answer and needs it fast.
JC smelling some blood in the water. A lot of control early in the neutral stage. Davey going to turn it back. He's that platform to his advantage, but JC does a great job of dodging out of trouble. Is really spacing this Shulk nicely. KO bar activated as well. Big potential here to close this one for JC.
At 60%, you got the shield art out. I mean, it's one of those where you're not taking as much damage, sure, not suffering as much knockback, fully defensive. That is what you have to do sometimes. You're going to have the speed art instead, but not going to do you much good in a corner. Maybe getting a little antsy with the buttons and swinging at nothing, but that guy JC has him swinging at Invisible Swordsman, having to fight his personal demons, and the backdashes from that guy JC, expertly timed and doing well to pile Davey up to 86%.
Yeah, JC's so close to those final blows as well. Just doesn't have quite the wingspan on a Little Mac you'd hope for to finish those ones off. He's doing a good job of spacing Davey right now. You can see panic coming through on the Shulk. Is he going to get him in the air? Chance to close this one right here. Not quite. Davey going to get back to platform. Not out of this one just yet, but it is coming down to the wires.
And now this is game number 1 at 109%, but caught on the jump. You press that button and I will have your soul. That guy JC did well with the tilt. And that's the whole thing about with those Monado arts, is you have different properties about you when you have them out. You got greedy with the smash art. Guess what? That's increased knockback. So something like a tilt from Davey is going to, or from that guy JC, excuse me, is going to mess him up as we get game number 2 going. The switch off to Pokemon Trainer is apparently the play for Davey. Starting off with Squirtle, standard stuff, but I mean, that guy JC, doesn't matter where you are in the tier list, Lil Mac can scrap, especially if you keep your feet on.
Yeah, absolutely. She does a good job of taking game number 1. Still plenty of room to work with here in this best of 3. Davey already the swap going to come through. Good to see there additional options in the character list for Davey. We'll see if that's enough. Already looking a lot stronger in the early neutral.
Lil Mac, the pride of Queens, New York, already suffering a stock loss as a result of that water gun. It's one of those things that you can stagger people off stage, and that's one of those things that you don't really hear about Pokemon Trainer all that much. But generally speaking, the mark of a good Pokemon Trainer is how well you can handle the Squirtle, because it's, you're doing that nickel and dime damage. You're able to stagger recoveries a little bit. It really is about how hard you can cheese off of that, because everyone can have a good Ivysaur if they really work at it. That Nair is so good. Hitbox is as big as the day is long. That Zard, obviously, a powerhouse. You can use it to recover. But if you're able to play neutral, you can do really well, because that means you're able to handle Squirtle. It's basically just Sheik with more kill power.
Okay, no recovery from either, so we'll get a dual SD
We're
there.
just going to pretend that never happened.
Still a little
2
trade of
stocks to
stocks.
1. Yeah, it's just a neutral homie stocks, 2 stocks to 1. Davey with a distinct advantage, and it's going to be interesting to see how that guy JC is able to counterplay this and puts him off the stage. Maybe a little bit of an awareness check for Davey, and I don't know how much mileage you're going to get off of that if you're JC. You really do need to knuck up and start catching the jump.
Is slowly starting to do so. Good timing on the call. This is JC finds the call out. Get back to neutral. These couple of these blows, I feel like there could be so much more percentage acquired from JC if they just came through. Big parry for Davey. Going to get a lot of space on that platform, but not quite able to capitalize.
I think Davey's thinking Flare Blitz. They're setting it up. They're just trying to get him in the right spot, but not finding it. Was hoping for a jump from that guy JC, but instead recovers over to the opposite. What? Oh, gets him on flat ground. Davey learning the lesson. Flamethrower off the ledge, pushes him off. But that guy JC able to recover. Big smash attack. That guy JC, I think he just kind of mistimed the attack and got caught flat-footed, and you know what happens when a boxer gets caught flat-footed.
That's great stuff there. Davey jumping back in, bringing in the Pokemon Trainer, looking excellent as well. Great spacing on the Mac, and honestly surprised you don't see the switch off from JC there. Davey looked like they really had the number.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if this is that guy JC just trying to work out with counterplay. Like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe some things work out differently. Maybe I fight the Squirtle differently, and you can make that adjustment. So we'll have to see if New Bern's resident boxer has the play in mind, the expense of Davey from West Craven High School. Doing well on the recovery. Again, you have to be aware of that. It's just because Lil Mac's not necessarily good in the air. That's really just a matter of range. Still have power. Oh. Smash. Fair. Looking for the KO punch. I got a little greedy there, but maybe is maintaining ground. So there. Oh, it's tense, Cat. I don't even know what to tell you, but a Flare Blitz, the great equalizer. Davey with a distinct advantage, though that guy JC will trade that off 2 stocks apiece, and this is intense, man.
Yeah, JC's doing a really good job of hitting where it hurts, for sure, but it's just being able to get these moments in. We weren't quite able to see that in game number 2, but now these heavier percentage, a couple combos coming through from JC as well, looking very good. The mix-ups have been clean for the Little Mac. There's definite potential here for an interesting game 3.
And that's the thing with Lil Mac, is that as long as you're maintaining your stance on the ground, you have the ability to mix up just through your movement. If you're able to run in, dash out, maybe fade out a button, and then counterpunch off of that. And yeah, you definitely need the shield there. That is not where you live, Little Mac. Get back on the stage now. Davey, miscalculation on the recovery, and all of a sudden that guy JC in triple digits on stock number 2, but still up nonetheless. How much extra credit can Lil Mac pile up? The answer is none. Catenator, I don't know about this one, man.
Yeah, we're looking down to the wire right now. The Bulbasaur coming in. Caught on the whip. That's going to be awkward. JC starting to combo. Going to bring him to the skies. And that's a free 80% acquired for the Little Mac. Not done just yet either. We'll grab it up yet again. It's a juggle on the way. Not quite able to find that forward air, but a lot of room here for Little Mac.
Directional air dodge. Davey is swinging and missing a lot. And that's the downside of Charizard, is that you are a big body, and Lil Mac, no stranger to the heavy bag. gonna treat you like one. Oh, they KO punch! You want to tee him up like that? He will take that all day. Lil Mac on the attack. And New Bern gets a point on the board, courtesy of that guy, JC.
I mean, that's really just working through and making adjustments there for JC, a player who was caught constantly through that platform, able to kind of rewrite the script and finish that game through the platform himself. Leave New Bern to the lead. The Bears up first. We're on to game number 2.
New Bern now going to go with Incineroar at the hands of Tristram. I happen to have seen Tristram work before. Very powerful, and goodness gracious, just the potential of Incineroar right there off of the revenge and the double axe handle up smash. Put him at 48%. And that is where, I mean, Sonic, you have the benefit of time. You get to control the pace of this match. It's really on the Incineroar to be able to read what they are doing, just in terms of homing attacks, in terms of throwing out hitboxes, and how well they're able to go in and out. But when you're getting caught like that off of the command grab, the Alolan Whip, that's a rough one.
It's not like has such quick movement. We haven't really seen much of it come out just yet, and partially that's because we got a massive roadblock in the way. His name's Incineroar, constantly breaking up those movement patterns, not really allowing the Sonic to get to the platforms. And honestly, Tristram just having a field day with the Sonic right now.
Yeah, just piling on the damage. Raging Rack maybe just not realizing the sort of positional advantages that they might be able to garner. Going to get a grab at the very least, try to establish the ground game a little bit. I mean, playing the ground game with a wrestler, it seems, absolutely just counterproductive, but then again, I was about to make a counterpoint. Tristram is just going to put a stop to all of that. I apologize. That was rude of me. Oh,
that spike is deadly. Good recovery, though, coming out. Sonic still some room here. Is going to finally get back the ledge, but it's 130. Tristram, I feel like, has been on 130 for the last 3 minutes. Finally, that stock will go away, but it's 50% already on Rack. This is going to be incredibly tough to try to bring back.
And now at 3.8%, well in control of this one. Tristram looking for the revenge there. I don't think it came out in time. So, Raging Rack getting caught just a little bit. Maybe I don't even know if this is necessarily Raging Rack trying to win this game number 1, just trying to make adjustments for game number 2 and seeing if, hopefully, if you can bring it to a game 3, you're able to fully put the pieces together.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a question on how to handle neutral for Rack to not get caught. I feel like we see the same consistent moveset coming out of Tristram, and it's just been effective, so no reason to change it. Rack, you can see the playstyle already starting to manipulate. This neutral's looking a lot better, a lot more stage control for the Sonic. Decent out of shield as well, going to avoid that grab. Hey, things are looking up for the Sonic, even if it's not necessarily game 1 as a victory.
And it will, in fact, be Tristram with a big old hit to get that to get things done in game 1. 1 point away from taking this whole thing. It should be noted. So we'll have to see if Raging Rack can bring this back. But I don't know. Like, the Sonic was looking really good, as you mentioned at the end of game 1. Seemed to be getting the spacing down, and now interesting choice going with the Sora, and you have the juggling ability with the Sora. Certainly the disjoint helps. Instead of the whole nickel and dime, let's play the ground game sort of thing with Sonic, you have the ability to kind of dash through the air, and this is not where Tristram is going to make their bread. They're going to be struggling. If they're going to be in the air, they only want to do it on their terms. And getting caught out on jumps is going to be deadly for Tristram now.
I was going to say, I didn't know how I would feel about the character swap. I mean, the Sonic really started to look good towards the end of that game, but hey, the Sora is looking beautiful right now early. Been early chain combos, Rack having a field day with it. He's going to get a lot of room here off ledge, too. Looking to already finish this first stock. Tristram still in the skies. Does manage to make a clean recovery, but still so high percentage. Basically anything has the chance to kill here.
So, Catinator, just as an educational point, we were seeing the momentum shift for that Sonic at the end of game number 1 as Raging Rack, 8% damage on that first stock. Beautiful stuff. But what is it that you can learn playing as a Sonic that you can pick up from this Incineroar's movement that would benefit Sora specifically? Because that character switch did happen for a reason.
I feel like you already got it cooked, so
Yeah, sure.
you might as well just give it to us.
Huh. I don't know, man. It's like one of those things that that kind of
The fact that he's just heavy.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. The like big combo potential. You want to be able to take advantage of that with a disjoint, but doesn't change the fact if you get caught by that command grab, you are suffering big damage. 20% just off of a neutral interaction alone. Granted, with a little bit of staling, but Whirlwind Whip on the platform not going to give you the distance that you want. Certainly, Revenge on deck. Remember, if you get grabbed, that is that revenge goes away, but it's not going to matter. You're going to get back body dropped. You're sitting at 129. This is one angry cat. Yeah. I was about to say one angry cat. Wow, that actually messed me up a little bit. Excuse me.
I think on your initial point as well, the fact that you also, with this Keyblade, get the projectile option. You can also, it's also easier to space when we're looking at trying to get away from that command grab. So a lot more options for Rack than initially you have on that Sonic, and it's definitely working well as well. I mean, this one character swap, I'd say, took momentum and flipped it directly on its head. So whatever the Sonic was cooking doesn't even matter any longer. It's looking fantastic right now. Is sitting at 100. There's still room here for this Incineroar, but not a lot of room when it comes to the actual stage. Constantly thrown off ledge, constantly juggled. There's really nowhere to try to start putting the work in. If you're Tristram, you can't dig a hole if no one gives you the shovel.
Truer words never been spoken, and Tristram, oh, we saw time almost standing still for Raging Rat. Could have seen the game slipping away, and realizing that the side B connecting, the lariat part of it, would have sent Raging Rat back to the stage, intentionally misses. So I respect the effort. I don't think he would have gotten any sort of stock win off of it, but Raging Rat now going to try to fight through it and points to the sky. And a 2-stock victory for Raging Rack in game number 2. Interesting stuff. I gotta say, where we saw the Sonic starting to succeed, Sora really did kind of take advantage of that. And I kind of wonder if we see callbacks from that game number 1 where the Sonic was able to close down space and get the grabs that he needed to not only get rid of the revenge that Incineroar had, but also just reset and take advantage of when he's going for revenge to begin with. Because if you're going for that counterattack and no counter and no hitbox goes out, that's a problem.
All right, a little meditation before, but into game number 3 now, at 1 apiece. New Bern, if Tristram's able to grab this game, we'll wrap it up right here. New Bern will move forward into this 25K qualifier, and they look in a not looking that way right now. Rack gonna grab that first stock.
Now, Raging Rack. Yeah, no damage on that first stock. You got to think you're feeling pretty good for Raging Rack. But if you're Tristram, you're already having a hard enough time moving around. Circumstances are not making it any easier. Certainly not with the sword, the Keyblade, excuse me, of Raging Rack. What is it that you're doing if you're this Incineroar in terms of counterplay?
Man, it's tough, right? I mean, the matchup really is just unfavorable. It's very tricky. Maybe out of shield options in neutral, but it's like getting to the ground to set them up in the first place. Tristan does a good job there of mixing up, getting Rack at least off ledge, finishing there. This has been so difficult. You know, we saw them really go to the grab option. They have been able to make some adjustments here and look for different movesets. I mean, we saw that really dominate the Sonic, and you saw Rack easily come into game 2 and recognize that's what Incineroar is going to look for, has had the timing window on it. So Tristan's switch-ups have been good here, but that percentage getting up, that's a really good look from Tristan. That could even things out here nicely.
Gets the recovery back to the platform, and Tristram maybe needs to be more cognizant of where Raging Rack is going to go. Because if you are Incineroar, yes, you're slow, but you do have means to apply pressure, very specific pressure, on recoveries to platforms. Because these platforms, I'm sorry, hazards off is the biggest lie that has ever been told. These platforms are basically hazards in this game. Going through a platform online might be the hardest tech in the game, legitimately, to pull off consistently. Raging Rack is like, there's a reason you see online players, like online specialists, not really going for falling through platforms. They're trying to get runoffs and continue their offense that way. It's part of the reason why Sonic is so good online. And one of the reasons why it surprised me that Raging Rack was going to Sora instead of Sonic in the first place, although certainly not really
no questions anymore.
Raging Rack at all. Yeah. Ooh.
Good projectile damage. Had the option of neutral. Look at that back step from the Sora. Recognizing Tristram gonna look to go in early, giving all that space. Dodges grab again. I mean, Rack really just has the number on this one. Maybe the key to the matchup was the blade he held along the way.
You ain't wrong, and catches the landing. Tristram, not a thing you can do about that. Got caught in the air, and I think kind of resource management with the Incineroar might have been the key, because you're looking for the recovery back to the platform, but you use your side B, and all of a sudden you're a sitting duck, more or less sitting cat, I should say. Sora going to put a point on the board for West Craven, and we'll have to see how this matchup number 3, the deciding point Catinator, turns out between How Funny and Luis.
All right, Noob are going to bring their own Sonic player into the mix. We'll see if that has more success than Rack did. See the Joker come into action for West Craven. I'll see which one of these schools can move forward in the South Regional Qualifier. 25K on the line in total prizing. Need to be top 3 if you want to make it into that regional playoff.
Yeah, and while we're on Battlefield, Omega Battlefield, which is such a weird thing to even say, but we got Luis continuing up to the sky and getting that KO on the Phantom Thief. I'm genuinely curious, because there are a lot of similarities between Joker and Sonic, specifically between how they want to play their game. They want to move in and out extremely quickly. They want to be able to control the pace of the game. Sonic is able to do that with strictly their speed as well as the homing attack. If you're a Joker, even without Arsene, you have the tools with which to do it. You have a little bit of a disjoint to work with on dash attack. You're able to get out, and certainly the side B works out as a little bit of a deterrent, especially with Arsene in play. But right now, it's How Funny maybe having a little bit of a tougher time learning how to manage the resources, and that was very advantageously inclined for Luis. Surprised he didn't take advantage of the Wings of Rebellion landing on stage. That is not the sort of risk you want to be taking if you're How Funny.
Decent percentage up, but just allowing for this extra effort to come through from the Sonic might make the rest of this game one tricky. You got to get this stock finished. Still 132 for Luis, still getting damage on the Joker. Might even be able to pull the second stock beforehand, is indeed able to do so.
Talk about extra credit. Oh my goodness, How Funny's going to have to stay after school for this one. And getting caught on the down air. But there's only so much you can do. If you are Joker, you do have KO options available to you without Arsene. Specifically with that back air is primarily how you're going to be getting it, right? Or maybe your smash attacks. But how likely is it that you're going to catch Sonic? The answer is maybe more likely than you think, especially if Luis insists on landing with this down air consistently. How Funny has the ability to catch the landing and make Luis pay dearly.
Has to be able to put the pieces together, and right now that is all Sonic has been able to do. Luis was looking to finish there off ledge, not quite. How Funny able to get back, and still it's a 180% Sonic, still cooking back to neutral.
Can't put the pieces together when this Sonic is piecing you up. Catch a body on the forward air, and at 179, all 3 stocks intact. Luis showing us how it's done with the blue blur.
Yeah, literally making diamonds there. You see the end card. A chance to close up the series here for Luis. You carry that momentum into this one. Hey, anything's possible. This could be a fast matchup. That's exactly what Sonic likes.
The last thing you need is Sonic with a Chaos Emerald. I don't know why you're even allowing Joker to do that. Joker, why are you doing that? That Chaos Emerald is there for you to steal. Like, it's going to be you or Robotnik. You gotta pick one, buddy. But regardless, how funny. Enough with the unfunny jokes. How funny going to try to keep on as they left off. And I'm not sure if I agree with the stage pick. Like, this is one of those matchups I think is won and lost on the stage select screen. I don't think you go Omega Battlefield again. I think you have to counter.
Yeah, but what do you counter pick to? I mean, you add platforms, I feel like the Sonic gets better. Like, at least you give yourself a chance with more open space. I don't know. I feel like this is a tricky one where it really just comes to being able to get some pacing back under your control, and how funny just hasn't quite been able to do so. You see like the confidence meter slowly rising for Luis as well, getting a bit riskier, not as fearful, not backstepping nearly as much in this game number 2, knowing like, yeah, I got this Joker's number. I can kind of do what I want.
Yeah, Luis is kind of putting on a clinic. This is how you do it, and this is a bad scene because how funny. Obviously, you have the ability to maybe walk back and forth, but you're being caught flat-footed, and now you're relying on pressing buttons, which is never the place that you want to be, especially as Joker. You want to stay mobile. You want to keep yourself in the air generally. If you're able to take advantage with that dagger, you can, but right now, it's Luis having taken 4 successive stocks and confirming that last one off of the back air, only suffering 52 percentage points worth of damage. If you're going to do it, this is how you have to do it. How funny. Oh, I think how funny might have turned around by accident. But you want to be able to corner Sonic on the ledge, at the very least, either make him jump or make him stand still. It just wasn't happening that time.
Another way that Luis, you can tell, is very confident now, but it's still like having that fail-safe insurance where shielding early, not allowing any sort of mix-ups to come through. Very patient in timing these attacks as well. Really, still, even though they're playing so successful, they're still playing a reactionary game to the point where they're not going to get caught by anything crazy. Up to 105 now, was off ledge for a moment, did recover nicely. Funny, not quite able to find the jab. That's going to send the Joker yet again back off ledge.
And this is the trouble with Arsene, right? Is that you are almost locked in to getting that KO, at least on a major competitive level. Oh, you got to be ready on that tech. The recovery for Luis hits the spring, hits how funny, and that green light under the stage, that indicates that you can tech that. That's just that's an awareness check, and how funny did not pass it that time. That's 5 successive stocks for Luis before eventually takes their exit on the first stop.
Yeah, Luis gonna put a little spring in how funny step. Are able to trade one back, so it will not be another 3-stock scenario, but it's a lot of work here for how funny if they're gonna bring this back and increase the odds for the West Craven qualifying potential.
Yeah, new Bern right now. You gotta say, this looked like a relatively complete team. Like, this is not a team that is lacking in any sort of quality. It's pretty well-rounded, all things considered. You got a Little Mac, a Sonic, and an Incineroar. That's an interesting combination, if nothing else.
As we get deeper in the qualifier as well, you see the value for some of these mains in terms of having tons of conference footage. If you are making it to the regionals, a chance to be able to work your matchups successfully. We see from a couple of these players as well, they've got multiple characters at their disposal in the toolbox. So that'll be interesting as well as Luis. That'll close it up from the center of stage. New Bern gonna take this one in 2-1 fashion. Luis really putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say but feel the burn? Luis closing things out. Again, the blue blur decked out in black. It's a rough state of affairs, right? Because you're Joker, you like to do things on the ground, and you're not able to do that. You're outclassed in terms of speed. Sonic is the fastest character in the game, apropos as it is. But I feel like there was more that you could do as Joker in order to tip the scales in your favor. I mean, we've seen this matchup before. I mean, Leo and Sonics have played numerous times. And we've seen, obviously, like Leo was the number one in the world with
Right.
Joker for quite some time, still gets begged to play the character to this day. What is it that you wanted to see from How Funny in that way? Because I think the potential to improve is definitely there.
Yeah, I feel like maybe some of that as well, especially in game 2, is just kind of a mental game where we see like Luis is so patient, he's not allowing for anything to come through. So it makes it awkward for How Funny to mix up in the first place. And I think that naturally when players start to get into disadvantage state, they try to play faster and they try to work out moves quicker in order to mix up. And I think that maybe we need to see the opposite from How Funny. This is just a learning moment of when I'm in disadvantage, I need to slow down further to get mistakes from my opponent because I feel like they just played a little too fast, truthfully. End up rushing, and when you rush, you make mistakes, and your opponent's going to be more than happy to capitalize on said mistakes.
They got caught pressing buttons quite a few times, and that's the thing. Maybe the inclination is there to slow things down, but you still feel like you need to do something. So you start pressing buttons. You start going for those side Bs that are whiffing. You start going for errant smash attacks that are missing by a couple of frames, and that's troublesome. So maybe just working on that timing. Certainly, it's tough online, but then again, you got to be able to adapt.
That's very true. I mean, it's an online league, so hey, you got to make it work without a doubt. Speaking of the league, Varsity Esports STEM League as a whole, the action continues tomorrow. We got Rocket League qualifiers week number 4 of 6 for them on the way. Also a $25K prize pool. That action is going to be sick. 3 conferences all live on YouTube at the same time. And then if you're a Fortnite fan, the Fortnite 5K kicks off. It's a 3-day event. That starts tomorrow as well. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We got the GOATs on that show as well. My good buddy Panda's on it. So a show that you're going to want to watch if you're not already playing. 5K up for grabs in that event. Lots of action on VESL in total. If you want to check out all the action, head over to Twitter, VESLGG, and YouTube, VESLGG, for the Rocket League action, the Fortnite action tomorrow. But for now, I've been Catnator. That's been Stu, the announcer. And we'll catch you when you do.
Happy gaming.